I feel like with almost every Paul Thomas Anderson movie, when someone asks you if you liked it, you're like, well, it was good, but then they're like, yeah, but did you like it? And it's like, I don't know. So Inherent Vice is the next film in Paul Thomas Anderson's pretty intriguing line of work. I feel like he's one of those writers-directors who sees like a book or a short story or an actual event and is just like, I'm gonna make a movie about that. There's no gimmick to it. You can tell he's making that particular movie because he wants to, because he's intrigued by the story or some other aspect of it. It's all just from his creative mind, and that's really cool. And I think that is why he is one of the most interesting directors out there. With that being said, his movies can be a bit difficult to like at times. He usually likes to take on topics that maybe most directors wouldn't take on, or that are maybe a bit overly complicated, or just, you know, usually kind of unique stuff. And that's great, but, you know, sometimes the subject matter is just a bit, or the way it's presented is just like, oh, okay. And in case you didn't know, Inherent Vice is based on a book of the same name by Thomas Pynchon, who I haven't read Inherent Vice. I'm not familiar with Thomas Pynchon's work, so I can't comment on the movie as an adaptation. So Inherent Vice is set in the 1970s in LA and is about a pot-smoking private detective played by Joaquin Phoenix, who gets wrapped up in a bizarre investigation that's initiated by the sudden appearance of his ex-girlfriend. While it seems kind of like a simple premise on the face of it, there are so many levels to it. Levels as in different characters that we meet, just different forms of powerful people, and then drugs and stuff. And the movie doesn't really give you time to adjust to the world it's thrown you into. It gets you right into it as soon as it starts, and you're just like, oh, okay, this is happening right now. Oh, go. You really have to pay attention to pretty much every second of it, or you're gonna get lost. Just a couple times I'd be watching it, and then all of a sudden Joaquin Phoenix is somewhere, and I'm just like, oh, wait, why is he there? But I feel like if you're used to Paul Thomas Anderson and his movies, that you'll probably like this one because it's still very much in that style, at least the ones that I have seen. It's definitely worth paying attention to for the small, funny moments that happen, but I feel like those only really happen more towards the second half of the movie. But the world he creates is so immersive, and you feel like you're right in it, and you could just tell his attention to detail is really good, which makes it enjoyable because you feel like you're in it even when you do get lost at some points. And of course the acting's good. Joaquin Phoenix is great as the private detective, and it's fun to see Josh Brolin in kind of a more silly role. And I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is between Joaquin Phoenix and Martin Short. It's just, yeah, I don't think I need to say anything else. It's just very enjoyable. So while I do generally dig his style and him as in general as a writer-director, the movie was hard to follow. And the build-up itself doesn't really lead to much. The climax of the film is kind of fleeting and therefore just kind of inconsequential. So I'm going to give Inherent Vice a meh and a half. It's an enjoyable film to a point. It's definitely not for everyone. If you're used to Paul Thomas Anderson and his style, and you like his style, you're probably going to like this movie. And it is surprising that the film is difficult to follow, especially since almost everyone in it is pretty much high a lot. So it shouldn't be that difficult to follow, but there it is. But what did you guys think of the movie? If you've read the book, do you think it's a pretty faithful adaptation? And, out of curiosity, what's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie? Out of the ones I've seen, which is only a few, I think my favorite is Punch Drunk Love. Okay guys, that's it for me. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you soon. Toodles!